So hello everybody, welcome back. I hope that you like this video and that you find it helpful somehow. So anyway, grab your coffee and if you wanted to share with me about it, links for that down below. And if you wanted to take a look at any of the books that I have actually finished, because I have a lot that I'm currently writing, yeah, they are also down below. And third video on the same topic, which is the dare thing that I lost. I'm not going to say that I lost miserably, like yeah, but yeah, kind of. So, having said that, then let's see. The bit or the dare was kind of like you can make your book, if it is 101 tips or whatever, you can make it in 102, maybe 105 minutes or something. And then I'm like, or maybe 1 hour, and then I'm like, no, 1 hour is you pushing it. But maybe 105 minutes or whatever, but no, hell no. Third video, I'm still counting, and so far I finished on number 51, and then I had to stop the videos, and then after that I actually had to write it down. Like I said, I'm writing this on this moment kind of thing, but I did manage to write some of these things while I was doing this video, because I did the third video last week, but and when I was finishing and all the other things, I had a lot of problems, and then I had to start over. And so I might be looking like I'm cheating, because I am to a point, but I'm not doing it on purpose, okay? So, having said that, then number 52, I wrote down understand your nails. By the way, this is about, the book should be about tips for saving money or making money, or things that are costing you money that you are not supposed to be doing, so that you are not supposed to be losing money. Not saving, but not losing, which is not the same. You saving money means you were supposed to spend 5, but now you're spending 3. You losing money means I have no idea, why do I have to pay this? I mean, it's not even in my budget. Okay, so 3 processes of managing money that I will probably mention in this book. So one will be you making money. The other one will be, like I said, you saving money, as in if it costs you 5, you can make it so that it now costs you 3, or not lose it, as in I didn't know that. So now it's more money. See, and it's there. So having said that, then number 52 will be understand your nails, because if you check your nails once a week, and you check your kids' nails, and your husband's nails, and even your pet's nails, you can tell a lot about your health and whether you should go to a doctor or not. And the reason is that your nail will show a lot of things, including but not limited to your oxygenation process. If you do like this is kind of like a first aid thing. You put it like that, and it's supposed to be pink. If it's not, then you might have issues with blood circulation or even internal injuries and things like this, because nails are going to be key in your thing. You can find this information online and then print it and then tell your kids so that they can check their own nails. In fact, several years ago, like 40 years ago, 50 years ago, when you were in a doctor, they will check your ears, your eyes, and your nose and your tongue, which is normal. But they will also check your nails. But now they don't. And if they don't check your nails, then you're going to have a lot of issues in there. Now, number 53 will be, like I said, no particular order. I will probably have to go through all of these things and then categorize it. Sleep properly, because obviously if you don't sleep properly, you will have more accidents. You will also be moody. And if you're a woman, it's worse for you than it is for a man. I'm telling you right now, sleep for men, not the same as sleep for women. Women require 1 hour more than whatever men require. So if men require from the same kind of average, if in that category, as in your height and your weight and your age, all combined, they are called your kind of like your average. If men require 8 hours, you might need 9. And this is because you take longer for your brain to process all of the data that you got. Remember, you as a woman take 40,000 things at the same time. Men, they have the nothing box, so they can go and hide there, while you, on the other hand, still processing, so need more sleep. Also, the sleep process can be aided through medications, and they can be expensive. And if you are a person that suffers from problems from sleeping, you can actually make money out of this thing, because you can get into that market and you can test products and then resell them or help into this process. There are people that will be volunteers into studies, and then they will also pay a lot of people for trying medication for sleeping, and there is a lot of money into the sleeping market, to the point that there is several research institutes that are specific for sleeping. And it's not just as human sleeping, there is also patterns for sleeping in animals and even plants. And so it's a process that all biological beings go through to a certain point, and you need to learn how to do it properly, because the problem is that we don't do it properly, and on top of that, we don't know how to do it. So it's costing us trillions of money, okay? Trillions, not even billions, trillions throughout the entire years in the entire planet. So I'm not joking. Next one is prepare your EDC properly, because obviously not having your EDC will cost you money. So for example, if you don't have water and then you're thirsty, you now have to pay for water when you're outside. If you don't have a snack while you're going out and now you're hungry, now you gotta pay for a snack. And then now you gotta pay for that. And now you gotta pay for that. And if you need it and don't have it, and then you can't even get it, then it's going to be even worse. And so really, EDC is extremely important. Get it together, because it's going to cost you money. Now, the next one is learn the psychological tricks about times. Now, this costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars through governments and people, and a lot. And that is when something is too important, like legal issues, like banking issues, like talking to your husband about something that requires his full attention and everything and commitment or whatever it is, or vice versa. You're a woman and she needs to be fully in whatever. Yeah, never do it between the hours of 9:30 at noon, and then between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. or something like that. The reason being is that those are the times in which you are hungry. And if other people that you are talking to are hungry, it has been proven, it was proven, like studied, and through judges that were giving the sentences, it was proven through lawyers that were doing a lot of writing process for the claims that they were doing. It was proven throughout history, and some women understand this in a level, but more than half of the women don't get it. And that is why we have a lot of problems with men, because when you're tired and when you're hungry, you will be stupid. It's just how things go. Reason being, your brain cannot function properly. And your brain is in a state of stress, and it's going to cost you money. Why? Well, let's say that you are going to ask a judge for leniency or extending a deadline or whatever it is. If you ask for it at 7 or 7:38 in the morning when they start, like in the first 3 or 4 people that they go through, especially if it is the first two, then the likelihood of you getting that is a lot. However, if you go after that and then you apply for the same thing, the judge will be no, and the lawyer will be no, your husband will be no, you no, no, and then you go, but you said yes to the 3 people before me. Yeah, that was before I was hungry. And then it was proven that they did the same process, but this time the psychologist gave the judges a candy, or they gave them something to drink hot. Hot drinks, essential. Hot drinks are essential for you to get things from other people. So coffee, tea, hot chocolate, whatever it is, they drank it. And then throughout this week, during those periods, like I told you, there were almost 80 to 90% denials. But when the judges were eating and drinking and things like this, the denials were almost 10-20%. It was negligible. Reason being, well, even when you are going to talk to your boss, you want to ask for a raise, ask for the raise in those times, and then you are going to get in trouble. And on top of that, now you're both going to be very upset. If you want to ask for a raise, don't ask in the last minute. Don't ask when the boss is hungry. Don't ask when he's tired. Ask very, very, very early, first thing, and propose it properly. As in, boss, I work very hard. I'm always on time. Look, here we are. We're the first people, blah, 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 and I'm now going to get a raise. I need it, blah, blah, blah. And the likelihood of you getting that raise is high. Ask the same thing 2 hours later when the boss is busy or when the boss is hungry. Yeah, the boss is going to look at you like, you want to make more money than me? Blah, blah, blah. And now you're not going to get it. And so you not knowing how hungry people react when they are into that process of not having sugar within their things is going to cost you money, accident time, and it's going to probably cost you your job and a lot of other things. And if it is a legal process, it can cost you hundreds, if not thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So learn the tricks. Times for certain appointments. If it is not really, really, really early, don't. If you cannot postpone it because you had an emergency, because it is a shopping thing and you have to deal with people when it is those times, then forget it. Because, okay, everybody's hungry and you can just move on. If you find yourself that you are the one who is being like this, you gotta shut down. Take hot chocolate, tea, coffee, hot something with candies or cookies or whatever it is. It's a small snack. You having a small snack between meals so that you are not that hungry at those hours will make you less likely to get into trouble with other people. And it will make you more comfortable when it comes to saying yes or no to people. And therefore, it is going to cost you a lot of money by saving you all of these things, and vice versa. And so, learn those psychological tricks. There are a lot of videos on YouTube about this topic. I forgot the name, but I'm guessing that you can figure this one out. Now, number 56 will be stop wasting time by setting up small fires all the freaking time. That is going to cost you Money and energy. Every single time that you're going to deal with something that it is kind of annoying or whatever it is, breathe. Like I said, ask yourself, is this the time to get a snack? Get a break, get a coffee or whatever. But if you already got all of that and you're still having the same issues, then start telling yourself, I have bigger fish to fry. Why? Well, duh, because when you're focusing on so many things that are not related to what you were supposed to be doing, you are doing a lot, but you're accomplishing nothing. And that is a problem. Because the rule that most even managers go through is the 80-20 rule or whatever it is, or 60-40 rule or whatever it is. So learn about the rule and apply it, because if you stop wasting time in small things and focusing on bigger things and doing it from bigger perspective, you will get results, and you will not be wasting the things that are very, very, very important to you, which is time and energy in terms of emotions. If you get pissed because you're doing everything and you still haven't done anything, despite the fact that you're doing everything, your brain doesn't even process that. It's like, I'm doing everything, but I got nothing. So your brain goes ballistic on yourself because of that. And that is going to cost you money. And it is going to cost you emotional health. And it is going to cost you health. So stop doing that. Like I said, this one you do it by researching the topic, by whatever means you want to do. Now, 57 will be invest in yourself, not in terms of money, but in terms of time and in terms of other issues. Meaning, like I said before, it's insane. I have known hundreds of people, and I have done this myself. It's insane. You suddenly go and do an impulse shopping thing, and it costs you $400 and you're okay. But then the next day you go, I'm not going to spend $1 in an ice cream for me. And your brain goes, okay, so it's okay to buy everything for everybody, but not for myself. So congratulations. You just kind of screwed over your priorities and your money and everything else because you want to spend things and time and prioritizing yourself. It's not that you're going to become selfish and you're going to say everything is for me, but you do want to set up a lot of things for yourself. So for example, I have a girlfriend. She goes and says, I don't care if we are having all problems. Once a month, I pay for a spa treatment for the hair. Is in my country is cheap, but still cheap by international standards. Okay, expensive for our standards, but cheap for your standards. She spends about $20, and for a foreigner, that's nothing. I mean, if you go to a hair salon, I'm guessing that in the other countries it's going to probably be $500 or whatever it is. But here it's about $20. So, but then she goes, I don't care. Because if I don't have my hair and if I don't do at least one thing for myself, but I'm doing everything for my husband and the 3 kids that I have, and they're all boys, have you ever tried to take care of 4 men? Because I have 3 that are mine, and I'm already pissed about, all of the things that I have to do all the freaking time. And then also, my husband, which is, okay, I deal with that because he's my husband, but still, you know what I mean? Because the kids that are teens, they give you a lot of headaches. And she goes, I need my space. And men take their space, by the way. Men are extremely good at this. Men go, I'm leaving. And I need my space. I'm going to the TV, I'm going to my bathroom or whatever it is, and I'm not talking. They go to the nothing box, but you as a woman go. And so she found that when she goes once a month, she makes an appointment, and then she goes, I don't care if the house is on fire because they can't cook or whatever it is. I don't care. I'm going to teach them later. I'm going to do everything, but those 2 hours are mine, and I am not talking to anybody. Now, those 2 hours will allow her to replenish herself and do a lot of things. Is it expensive? Yes. But the emotional aspect will give you relief. And if you don't find relief, then you're going to have a lot of problems. Now, do this one properly. Here's why. Because a lot of poor people as in people that have very little income, they spend a lot of time trying to find something of this sort, like a hair salon or something like this, but they haven't found it, or they can't even afford this one. So they go through the TV. And when they go through the TV or social media or whatever it is, they become addicted to that thing. And then they go into the couch and then they don't want to do anything and they lose the discipline and they do it on a daily basis. They don't do it on a monthly basis. They do it on a hourly basis if they can. Because the more stress that you have, the more that you will need to invest in yourself, because otherwise you will collapse. And so because you know, and your brain also knows that you will collapse, then immediately your brain will go into retrieve mode. And when you go into retrieve mode, it's going to cost you money. Because rather than you going and do exercising, you going and do whatever, no, you're now sitting in the couch doing nothing. And then if it is a thing that you're going to do once a month or once a week, that's fine. However, if you do it on a daily basis, it's a problem. And so if you don't learn how to manage this one, and you're thinking, everybody gives me problems, like my family, my friends, everybody, and then you want to collapse, especially, and if you're a guy, you go, my wife is demanding, everybody is expecting, blah, 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 and then it's insane because everybody thinks that everybody has a problem. And everybody does have a problem. And so it's going to cost you money. Every single time that you don't manage this one is going to cost you trillions in terms of the whole humanity per year. And the ones that are going to make the most money out of these things are very likely going to be the ones that will give you addictions and will sell you things so that you can get out of that addiction. As in advertising agencies that go through these processes of you not doing nothing and then having your brain trying to relax. Now, when your brain is trying to relax, it's not relaxed. It's trying to relax. And therefore, you are in a vulnerable position. And at this point, if you're in a vulnerable position and there is an ad that says delivery food, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm not cooking. I'm too tired. I'm not cooking. Bam. Money. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Boom. Money. And if you're a woman, oh my God, if you're a woman, this situation is worse for you because now you will buy a lot of things just for shopping addiction. And so it is going to cost you money. So what is cheaper? If you are a guy and you have a woman that is going through all this process, what is cheaper? You having her once a month or once or twice per month, her going to a salon so that she can just be out of it, or having the woman every single day into this process in which she is trying to get relaxed by all means, and vice versa. For men, they don't even know that they're trying to relax. Men go, where's my nothing box? I can't find it. And then they go and look in the TV, or they go into the social media. So they don't even know that there is nothing there because that is not a nothing box. And so they go, there is a nothing thing. But that is not your nothing box. And because that is not your nothing box, that is going to cost you money as a man. And is also probably going to cost you success. Because that is worse for men. Because men don't know. So understand your brain in this one. Because if you don't invest in yourself, then you will collapse. And your brain will not allow you to collapse. Therefore, your brain will go insane on you and your wallet. And you're paying for it, by the way. So, no. Number 58 will be invest into planning for the social media and other in terms of your death. Reason being, okay, so you're dying, you don't have problems. But you're leaving problems for everybody else who is behind you. So, you didn't have life insurance. Okay. So now your family has to pay for your funeral and for everything else that is related to you. So congratulations. You died, but you left behind a pile of debt and bills, and now your family also have to pay for everything else that is related to you. Don't be like that. Be like the Egyptians. They prepare tombs for decades just so that they will have a place to be dead and not be, creating a lot of problems for everybody else. Sorry about that, I got interrupted. So 59 will be invest into a great partner, because obviously if you have a family, even your best friend or whatever, and they are not getting better, it's a problem. It's going to cost you money and it's going to cost you a lot of things later. So rather than doing that, ask yourself, how are you going to invest in them? Because if you get better but everybody else around you doesn't, you're moving on but your family is not. And if they are your family, aren't you supposed to take them with you? So yeah, now you gotta save money so that you can pay for art courses for your kids, music courses for your kids, sport courses for your kids, whatever it is. And then for your wife, she might need cooking classes. She might need, sewing classes, whatever it is, gym classes, whatever it is, I don't know, because it will depend upon what she wants to do. If she goes, no, I don't like sewing, no, I don't like cooking, no, I like gardening, so then you gotta invest in gardening and things like this. And the whole point is that she gets to improve, she gets to be better, and so do you. And vice versa. Your guy also. So invest into your great partner, not just you. Invest into organizing yourself in terms of time, as in try to be punctual, try to have agendas, try and die trying to be disciplined and to manage yourself in terms of time. Again, just like the same thing that I just told you before, you got bigger fish to fry, so stop frying the small things. But now breathe and understand time better so that you can manage this resource as best as possible. For this one, you might need help. Now, 61 will be invest into organizing yourself, but in terms of your house. Not your time, but in terms of your house. This means that you might need label makers, you might need containers, you might need measuring tapes, you might need notebooks and understanding, you might need lists, you might need a lot of things. Because if you don't organize your house, that is going to cost you money. In fact, a lot of people that have been through a process of cleaning their houses and then organizing their houses, they have said that they have saved millions throughout the entire economy. Reason being, well, now you're not going to buy 40,000 pens. Rather, you're going to buy 10 or 20, and you're going to have them where you need them to be. and you're going to need them and use them properly rather than screaming because you don't have something to write and stuff like this. So organize yourself with that one. For that one, again, you may need help, professional. Number 62, know your poop. Yes, and this one is important because if your poop is bleeding or your poop is changing color or your poop, you gotta tell your doctor. When you go to a doctor and the doctor doesn't ask you anything, but rather they go, what is wrong with you? And then you say, oh, I have a headache and I have pain, whatever. And the doctor doesn't ask you for, your vitals, as in your blood pressure, and when was the last lab work that you made, and your eyes and your ears and your throat and your nose, and then your nails, and then they don't ask you for your poop, and then they don't ask for a lot of other things like how's your sex life, how is your sleeping, blah, blah. You will always be addicted to medicine and you will always be addicted to a lot of things. Until you tell your doctor, but you know what? I am pooping white. I forgot to tell you. Okay. Poop properly. And this one is also very, 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 very important for your kids. You gotta tell your kids you're supposed to poop in a certain period. Like you can't go 1 week without pooping. And so you gotta talk to your doctor because the pooping process is different for each person and it's different for certain races. Certain races will poop more frequently than others, and certain people with certain conditions, like people who make sports versus people who are not that active versus people who are always using their brains and things like this, they have different metabolism, different energy levels, and therefore the need for pooping is going to be different. So you want to know the frequency, you want to know the color, you want to have charts so that you can take a note, and you want to have kind of like a consistency thing. Is it almost liquid? Is it diarrhea? There a lot of people said, oh, I have, it's almost liquid, so it's diarrhea. No, it's not. Diarrhea means that you can't stop pooping. It's like you poop, half an hour later, you keep pooping, and you don't stop. And that one can dehydrate you, and you can have a lot of issues. And so, honest to God, it's not a pleasant topic, but you need to learn because it is a part of your body. You cannot deny it. And you gotta learn how to read it, because that way you will learn how to read your own body. And then you can tell the doctor, what? I have a headache, but you know what? I have 10 days without pooping. Then the doctor will know what to do, because the reason why you have a headache is obviously because you haven't pooped in 10 days. Okay? And it might be an even bigger problem. And if you don't tell the doctor that your poop is now changing colors, your poop is more soft, more sturdy, or you're constipated, or you can't poop, or fix that, because it is one of the major problems that is costing thousands of people millions of dollars. It's insane. Okay? And so one way to do that is, like I said, just print the freaking thing for the colors. Do this for your animals as well, by the way. The veterinarian should ask you, how frequently is that pet of yours peeing, pooping? What is the color? Is it the shape? To the point in which the shape is important, because herbivores will shape balls, little balls. But if they are carnivores, it will be more like a tube. And so you can even tell that one is also important for tracking and other stuff. The number 63 will be know your peep. Same reason. Number 64. Know your seasonal growth for food. for food. Now, this one is kind of like this. So, tomatoes should be growing every 60 days, some of them 90 days, some of them 120 days. But it's not like, okay, so I did it today and then 60 days from now I'm going to get it. No. When you have an industry, you have standards and you have dates and you have seasonal things. Why? Well, because if you do it in your own garden and then you're spending more water, you don't care. But if you're going to do it in an industry, you having to apply that for hundreds of thousands of tomatoes, that is insane. And it's also way more time consuming and way more of whatever it is. So a lot of things are seasonal. And right now, it doesn't seem like it, but it is. And if you go to countries like Japan or others, if you ask for certain things, people will tell you that doesn't grow in this season. So wait next season. You can order that. I know you're in a restaurant, but no, not this season. Wait for next season. Why? Well, because you want to eat fresh, and because if you're going to look for that particular item off season, it's going to be way more expensive. And if you have to import it, it's going to also be more expensive. And if it more expensive in the long term, okay, not short term, because if you have a strong currency, and in terms of euros versus something made from Africa, obviously it's going to be cheaper from Africa. But in the long term, it's going to be more expensive. Reason being, well, transportation, timing, and a lot of other things. And so, seasonal. And from the seasonal, this also means that you get to save money, because that way you understand that tomatoes are going to be rotten after this date. So after this week, on this month of this cycle, then I know that tomatoes are almost going to be rotten. This means that the tomatoes are going to be cheap, extremely cheap, because the industry goes, whatever we didn't sell, we're not selling it because by next week it's going to be rotten. So if we don't sell it now, it's going to be rotten. Nobody will buy it. So instead of charging $50, they are going to cost you $20. And I mean like the big packages things, not the ones that you pay in the supermarket. The ones that you pay in the supermarket, it's also going to be cheaper, but still, it is a lot cheaper. So sometimes it's even probably 1/4 of the price, or maybe even 1/3 of the price. Because if it is about to be rotten, it's going to be very cheap. Now, if that happens, you want to learn when are those dates for the products that you usually consume frequently, like tomatoes, greens, and a lot of other stuff like that, and fruit. And of course, at this point, if you know that the tomatoes are going to be rotting next week, but now you can buy 10 kilos of tomatoes, oh crap, go and buy it. However, what the hell are you going to do with 10 kilos of tomatoes? So at this point, you also want to learn a lot of preservation methods. So make tomato paste, make tomato ketchup, make sweets with tomatoes, make bolognese sauce, make I don't know, there are a lot of things that you can do with tomato. It's one of those things that is very versatile. And so when things are a lot and abundant, you want to learn how to preserve that, because as soon as they stop, they will be spoiled, and one day they are spoiled, is you being hungry for a very long time. So the most basic preservation methods are going to be using vinegar, using salt, using smoke, using dehydration processes, and of course using sugar. So kind of like those things, okay? Now, next one is going to be 65, which is know your cardinal points. And this one is because if you don't understand cardinal points, as in east, west, south, and north, you probably won't understand light. Now, light means there are two types of light. passive light and active light. Active light means the sun is moving and therefore it is active. So you can see things throughout the day. You cannot see things throughout the night. That's it. Passive light and passive processes of lighting means this will give you this much shade. This will give you this much shade. This will not give you any kind of shade. This will give you this type of shade. If you understand shades, you will understand keeping cool throughout summer and keeping warm throughout the winter. If you understand this, you will save a lot in insulation, in electrical bills, and even it will help you in terms of your mood, your circadian rhythms. Circadian, you know what I mean? Your life rhythms. And they will also help you with your mood, and they will help you with a lot of things, including but not limited to understanding wind patterns. Because if you read in the geography books and things like this, they will tell you in this area winds are this type and they come from the east, from the west, or whatever it is. So now you know that the wind is going to come that way. And if you know that throughout this season wind comes this way, then you can prepare things accordingly. So you will prepare your garden, your shading and your lights and your wind protection barriers in your house based upon those things. But if you do it just because you want to do them and you don't take these things into consideration, congratulations, it's going to cost you way more money. And if there is a problem with services like blackouts and others, it might be a dead trap. So it's very, very, very important that you understand this one. Now, cardinal points do not work with magnetic points. If you're thinking you can determine this thing through magnetics, as in the compass is not accurate, and it does not always point exactly to the north. Let me tell you, north is this in the cardinal point. Magnetic point, as in the one that you get with your compass, is still better because at least it will give you a general thing, but no. So magnetic fields are extremely good for orientation, but they are not the same of the cardinal points, and you not knowing this is going to cost you money in the long term, because everything that we do, the design, the placement, and everything that we do should be done with the cardinal points taken into consideration. Let me explain this one. If you go into a medieval monastery, they will have grapes and a lot of plants that are certain types in the east, a lot of these things in the west, and a lot of these things in the north and in the south. Reason being, with this thing, north, south, whatever, the plants are like this, they will create microclimates, and that way they will never be too hot or too cold. Easy. And that is just the garden, let alone the design of the building per se. If you put all of the windows and everything facing west, sunlight goes that way. So, see what I mean? So it's important that you understand this one. And of course, I'm just doing this thing with my hand just because it's not obviously west or east. I'm going to tell you right now, east, if I was going to be like this, is actually in my left, because that is where the sun is. Now anyway, and north, by the way, for me is that way. It's also very important, number 66, to buy lots of shoelaces and things related to maintaining your shoes. And you're thinking, what? Why? Well, let's see. So you're poor and you don't want to have 20 different pairs of shoes. However, let's say that you have two shoes, neutral colors, so brown and green. If they are shoelaces type, and the shoelaces is black, they will look a certain way. Remove the shoelaces. Put shoelaces that are green. Now you got new shoes. They are the same shoe, but people will tell, oh, you got a new shoe. Costed you $2. It will also help you keep your motor skills. And the best part is that you can try even different ways for placing them, and they will look cuter or whatever, and now you have new shoes. Cheap, easy, comfy. Just make sure that the shoes that you're wearing are 2 or 3 and they are neutral. And with that, you can just change them. And it will be one of those tricks that a lot of people use. And it's insane. They always wear the same base, the same clothing. But every time that you see them, it's like they look completely new. Why? Because they're wearing different shoes. Why? It's the same shoe, but it's a different type of lace. So they look like they are another pair. And the best part, you don't have to tell other people, oh yeah, I got a couple of, because they are the same pair, I love them, so I bought 3. You bought only 1, but, and then you can, even show off a little bit. And so a lot of people do that. And then the same topic will be 67. Will be you buying lots of accessories, including but not limited to things that change the color with the same thing, including like watches. So my mom got a watch and she changed the cover. So it's a rolling thing, like the screw that you use for mayo or other packages in your kitchen. She just screw it like that, turn it, and she has a package. It has 20 colors. Everything from white to silver to gold, silver, rainy, with all kinds of colors, and a mixture of colors, and then even design pattern things, and then up to black. And so she has 20 watches, but it is just one watch. But she can pick the color. Turn it, put it together, that's it. New watch, different color. And everybody will think, oh, new watch? Yeah. No, not a new watch. It's just that, yeah. So there is a lot of things that I have a girlfriend, I swear, she has, oh God, she has like 50 accessories for everything. But she wears the same clothing. It's like her closet is very neutral and very types of colors that are specific. But every time that you see it, she's different. Well, because this type of earring, when you put it with this, it will give you a certain look. But then if you remove these earrings and then place the same thing, but only wear these or change the watch, it looks entirely different. Now, this is an art. There is a lot of people that are amazing with this topic. I am not. But just because I'm not doesn't mean that other people are not. So it's a good idea. It's a good idea because that way you don't have to spend a lot in clothing. And you don't have to spend a lot in shoes and a lot in other things. And so, and it will still give you choices. And so it's very, very, very important. Now, 68. This one is a little bit more difficult. This one is know the level of objects and determine the maximum and the minimum that they should have when they are in your house. Now, if I tell you that objects have levels, I can tell you right now, if you ask people, 1,000 people, do you know what the object of a level is? Out of 1,000 people, the 1,000 people are going to tell you that they have no idea what the hell. That, what do you mean objects have a level? They do. But apparently, out of 1,000 people, 1,000 people don't know. So this will require an explanation. So objects can be based upon the operational mode. So this will give you the levels, and it will also give you an idea, a rough idea of how difficult it is to operate that thing. It's also going to give you an idea of how expensive operating that thing is going to be. And then it will also give you an idea of how expensive it is going to do maintenance or repairs of any type with that thing. And it's also going to give an idea of whether those things can be cleaned, should be cleaned, and how they can be cleaned. And all of these things, which is also going to be more expensive, and it is insane. So to make it short, yes, I got interrupted again. Objects levels are analogic, electrical, electronic, informatic, smart, and autonomous. Okay, so analogic means you make it with your hand or you make it work with your hand. Electrical means it only requires electricity. Electronic means that it has electronic circuits and panels, and they can be programmed through hand or through buttons or turn it and devices like that. It doesn't work with voice or anything like that. Informatic means it requires access to internet, but it might just be because it needs an update or something like that. But it doesn't work necessarily with that, but it might require that. Then the smart one requires an AI. An AI can work with or without internet. And it's important you understand these differences. And when you have a smart thing, it's programmable by the AI. And at this point, you want to understand that they will need updates with certain frequency. And this means that they have expiration dates. If it is anything that it is from informatic level and beyond, as in more than that, it will very, very likely have an expiration date. Reason being, it requires a lot of updates, and every time that you do an update, it will require more memory, and it will require different types of operating systems, and it will require anything. And so basically, all the devices that are informatic, smart, and autonomous, those three are going to be disposable, so to speak. The problem is that these three devices, these three types of objects, are extremely expensive. So anything that it is informatic, hundreds of dollars. If it is smart, thousands of dollars. And if it is autonomous, even more. And so now they can be cheaper depending upon if they are for consumer purposes or if they are for military purposes. They are beyond insane in terms of how much money it will be. So for example, there is an autonomous bodyguard that was sold, and I think the price was, I don't know, 700 or it was millions. But this was an autonomous bodyguard, and it has bombs and it has all kinds of things, and it's a robot that can basically be like a bodyguard for you. And of course, it is very heavy. And all of these things from the informatic and beyond, they have the problem of require internet for working. They also have the problem of having issues with maintenance, because you might require a technician. It's not like you can just call the plumber. You need to call for a technician. And the technician may or may not know how to fix the problem, because these objects require specific type of systems that may vary model to model, even if it is the same object. So for example, a cell phone is not the same if it is Samsung versus Motorola versus, brands. And within the brands there are models, and within the models there are the numbers, and the numbers are different, and the generations are different. And so you might require technicians that do not know anything about old generations, or vice versa, technicians that do not know anything about new generations. And so it's insane when you are dealing with this. Now, if you don't know these things, it's going to cost you thousands. Short term, medium term, and in the long term, tens of thousands. So for example, right now, a lot of people buy toasters that are smart. So you're paying $400 for a device that should be only electrical level. It should just be a thing for you applying electricity, turn it on, turn it off, that's it. Why do you need a system that is smart for a toaster? And so you're overpaying it. And then there is a lot of things that are attached to the fact that this toaster is smart. This means that, the second in which it updates, it's going to tell you that it collapsed and now it's not going to turn on, or it's going to be too old to work, as in 6 months from now. So you buying a toaster $400 every 6 months, versus you buying electrical $40, and it can last you a decade. So a lot of objects need to be analogic. A lot of objects should be only electrical, and a lot of objects can be electronic, but it's a so-so. And if you're thinking, what's the difference between electronic and smart or whatever? Try talking to a microwave that is about you pressing buttons. Turn on. I don't know, you can even scream at that thing, it's not going to move, because it works with you pressing the button. That being said, this means it's electronic. As in, there is a panel that says the numbers that you're pressing. It doesn't talk back. It doesn't do anything other than show that thing in the panel, that's it. This also means medical things, like the thermometers, the blood pressure device. And the blood pressure device, if it doesn't have the proper batteries, it will give you an inaccurate reading, and it's going to cost you money. Short term, long term, medium term. Understand technology is good, but not when you apply it to 100% of your life. There are too many things that are going on in your life just so that you can make everything even more complicated. Technology is supposed to make it easier, not more complicated. Can opener, either electrical, press a button, that's it, or manual. You don't need a smart thing. Why do you need a smart thing for a can opener? It's how difficult can it be for you to just press a button? Do you need to talk to the AI so that you can just open the can? There is a point in which your brain will start just going down the drain, because you gotta keep it in the proper level. If you don't keep it in the proper level, you're going to have to pay more for the internet. You're going to have to pay more for the electricity. You're going to have to pay more for the technicians and all of these things. And on top of that, everything will become even more and more and more expensive because everything is disposable. So the toasters that you produced last year, they can no longer be sold because now there is a new market for the toaster. Toaster smart device 2.0. Because now the toaster, I don't know, can, next thing I know, they're going to take to the toaster, give me my allowance and give me money. And the crazy part is that might actually happen. So just understand this topic because it is going to cost you a lot. A lot. Because if you lose your brain, there's no turning back. You can't buy another one. And you fixing your brain, it's not that it cannot be done, but yeah. So anyway, we will continue with the fourth video soon.